We always hear that if you're a small guard and you don't have the perfect tools, you can't play defense in the NBA. But I'm here to say that's not true. Jalen Brunson isn't a fast twitch athlete. He's not going to lock up Kyrie or Fox one-on-one. But does that mean he can't be a good defender? Not at all. In fact, history shows us a bunch of guards with average or even below average foot speed who still became playoff level defenders. So let me show you. First, let's talk about what Jalen Brunson lacks. Brunson isn't slow, but compared to elite guards, he's a step behind. Not super laterally quick, doesn't have long arms, and doesn't generate steals or blocks, although he generates charges. But what he do have is great body control, strength, and high basketball IQ. And there's some guards with similar profiles who play very good defense in big games. And let's talk about 5 guards who defended without elite speed. Derek Fisher, 6'1", 210 pounds. Never fast, but tough, physical, and knew where to be. Took charges, rotated on time, and really got caught ball watching. Teams trust him on defense in multiple final runs. Then we got Andre Miller, 6'2", 200 pounds. Slowest guy on the floor most nights, but still stays on the floor. Used positioning, strength, and angles. Great help defender, and sneaky off the ball. Chauncey Billups, 6'3", 210 pounds. He wasn't quick, but he was a rock. Body up guards, navigate screens, and communicate. Key part of the Pistons championship defense. Leadership on defense matters, and he set the tone for Detroit's physical defense. And then we have Fred VanVleet, 6'1", 197 pounds. Similar build to Brunson, maybe a little quicker, but not by much. Now, what makes Fred VanVleet a very good ball defender is his ball pressure. He has quick hands and an incredible motor. He's proof that if you study, commit, and fight through screens, you can survive, even thrive. What Brunson can learn, here's the key. None of these guys were elite athletes, but they played angles, anticipated actions, committed to effort plays, and didn't gamble. Brunson can do all of this. He's strong enough to switch, smart enough to rotate, and competitive enough to fight. He doesn't need to be Fred VanVleet or Chauncey Billups, but if he leans into their habits, he becomes much harder to get to target, especially in the playoffs. This isn't just about Brunson's pride, it's about team flexibility. If Brunson becomes just a neutral defender, the Knicks can switch more, hide less, and unlock better defensive lineups. That's the stuff that decides playoff series. Now, like I said, Brunson doesn't have a long wingspan, but he's not some frail, undersized guard like Trae Young. He's listed at 6'2", about 200 pounds. He has a strong frame, a low sense of gravity, sturdy on drives, and this isn't some low IQ player. Brunson understands the game, rotations, and how to read the floor, especially on offense. So, in theory, he should be at least a decent defender. As he was on Dallas, as we can see, there's a consistent pattern. His defensive effectiveness dropped by roughly 4 to 6 points once he became the primary offensive weapon in New York. Now, of course, Brunson wasn't the leading scorer on Dallas. He had energy to spend on defense. In New York, 30-plus points and high usage, we know that sit heavily on his legs. I'll say the scheme difference, the Mavericks system under Jason Kidd hinged on switching and layer-based defense. The Knicks under Tibbs, they often relied on drop or ice schemes, which can expose Brunson to isolation. As we can see, in Dallas, he had a season of 111, 113, 115 at his peak in Dallas. Once he got to the Knicks, it just skyrocketed to the higher teams. It's not that he forgot to play defense, of course. He just has less left in the tank to make them high-effort plays. And he still can improve on defense. Now, I had somebody ask me, why can't he be Chris Paul or Kyle Lowry on defense? Brunson and Lowry do actually have similar builds, but I consider them the gold standard for small guards in their prime on defense. These dudes weren't just passable on defense, they were disruptive. Chris Paul was a steal artist. He had 6 seasons leading the league in steals, and he always knew how to dig in and pickpocket guys without gambling too much. And Kyle Lowry, he was just like a brick wall. Charges, tough switches, scrappy box outs. He didn't care if you were 6'9", he don't care if you're 6'9", he'll bump you off your spot. This is who I feel Brunson needs to study most. They had the same coach in college, but Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry, they made their money off great anticipation, elite footwork. They had a high motor, IQ and communication every single play. You always seen them talking. And most importantly, another important thing, effort every single possession. That's where the gap starts to form with Brunson. Now, we all know Brunson is a step slow against quicker guards like Maxey, Fox, who can blow by him, even if he's in decent position. Plus, he's short arm. When he gets beat, he can't recover with a contest or block. CP and Lowry weren't tall, but their quickness and their timing made up for that. Those two are elite at digging their hands in and still swiping the ball at the last minute. And Brunson just hasn't reached that level. Now, we all know Brunson carries the Knicks offense. He's averaging 37 to 40 minutes a night with a 30-plus usage. That takes a toll on him. Chris Paul and Lowry make plays off the ball, deflections, rotations, digs. Brunson mostly just plays contain. He really helps early, and he doesn't force turnovers, unless it's taking the charge. Kyle Lowry at his best had teams with balanced creation, so he could afford to burn energy on defense. And did Chris Paul burn as much energy on offense as Jalen Brunson? I don't know. That's up for debate. And so, like I say, under Tibbs, Brunson mostly just played contain. He really helped early, and he didn't force any turnovers. So even when he's in the right spot, he's not changing the possession. He's just surviving it, unless he's taking the charge. So can Jalen Brunson improve defensively? Yes, 100%. If he could just play light Lowry defense, take a few charges, as he already does, but if he could just navigate screens harder, box out, bump cutters, communicate, he becomes much less of a playoff target. In my opinion, and Chris Paul in his prime had elite hip flexibility, letting him slide with smaller guards and recover quickly. He was extremely agile laterally, combined with all the other things I already said about him, like his timing. In prime Lowry, not quick as CP3, but still had above average lateral mobility. He used angles and positioning more than foot speed, but had enough foot speed to contain guards one-on-one. This is why I want Brunson to study Lowry. Lowry's strength and core stability let him absorb contact without getting knocked off his spots, which Brunson has them same tools. Brunson's solid footwork, but a step slower laterally than CP3 and Kyle Lowry. He's strong enough to hold his ground in the post or when someone drives into him, but he struggles to slide and stay in front. He relies on efforts and angles just like Lowry, but he lacks the quick burst or the twitch to recover once he's beat. So can Jalen Brunson be better on defense? 100% yes. He can first improve on the simple things like all off-ball awareness. He gets caught looking a lot on defense. He can be better at knowing who he's guarding, knowing who to help off of and not who to help off of. And if he could just try to take something out of everyone's game that I mentioned in this video, then he would be doing himself and his teammates a huge favor. He already has a charging down pack. He has that in his game. But let me know, y'all, am I asking for too much, or do y'all think Brunson can still get better on defense?